Hey, it's Bradley J, and today we are reviewing a video which has been somewhat repurposed. Now, originally this was supposed to be 3 people having a go at making a traditional Cornish pasty using a recipe by my Cornish friend, and because the other 2 didn't do it, basically I'm looking to do this on my own. So, say hello, Betsy.
Hi.
So, this is your recipe. And you gave us the instructions, but you deliberately gave us the instructions pretty vaguely, didn't you?
I did.
So bearing in mind my lack of baking experience and the vagueness of the recipe, not to mention the fact that I once put up a video that got called out by another chef, what were you expecting from this?
Well, given the vague instructions, not a lot, but going by your previous dishes I have seen, maybe a little bit more than nothing.
I think thinking back to this was minimum target edible.
Well, yeah, edible would be good, yeah.
And just to say, you haven't seen any of this before, have you?
I haven't.
So again, for full context, this was recorded about a year ago, so I'm not overly familiar. Just as an example, I don't own that shirt anymore, for example. So let's get started.
Okay.
Hey,
I'm
it's
ready.
Bradley J, and today we're making traditional Cornish pasties, which aren't as good as Hunter's chicken pasties, but that's the challenge I've been set. So here we go.
Hunter's chicken pasty.
I haven't measured this all out yet, but what we have here is some beef, a couple of onions, lots of pepper, salt, butter, potatoes, flour, and diced swede. Now, before anyone calls me out for having pre-diced swede, I don't care. If it saves me time and money, I'm going to do it.
Okay, so
let's start by pouring the
firstly,
flour
you've got
in.
diced beef. Now, you could have gone to a butcher's and got some beef skirt.
Yeah, the recipe did say beef skirt. However, I couldn't find any at all. I tried in a small local butcher that we have here. I've tried in all the supermarkets, even the supermarket butchers. I just couldn't find anything. So in the end, I opted to just go for this normal diced beef.
Okay, there.
So let's say you couldn't get hold of any beef skirt. What kind of beef or what cut of beef would be a good substitute?
Something that's not fatty. You need a good cut.
There. What we're also going to do is put the butter. I've cubed this up into smaller pieces, and we're going to use what's called the rubbing in method, which is also what Townie uses when he beats me at Monopoly. Rare as that is. It's the rubbing in method until it becomes like breadcrumbs, essentially. This desk, this work surface I have is a lot lower than I am. Okay, so let's put in some lard then.
Lard, important.
Which has a slightly denser texture to butter. The word was there. Isn't it a shame when you forget the word butter? I wonder whilst I do this whether using beef dripping might actually be better. Following the recipe. So I was just saying that obviously I forgot the word butter there, but going back to the video, do you think beef dripping would work?
Yeah, it's absolutely acceptable.
Yeah, it's quite embarrassing there, forgetting the word butter as I'm trying to pour it in, you know?
It happens to the best of us.
To use lard, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, so the consistency you can see now is starting to come together. My understanding of pastry was that it's 1 part fat to 1 part flour. So the fact that we've actually got 280 grams of fat to 450 grams of flour just seems a bit off, but again, I'm following the recipe. So it just doesn't feel right. I don't know if it's because I'm used to making it with butter and the lard changes the consistency at all. I think that is about as rubbed in I'm going to get it. You can see the flour has indeed changed colour. Does
Not
have
really
more
resembling
breadcrumb
breadcrumbs, is
consistency.
it?
Well, I mean, it mostly does, to be fair. I wasn't sure if maybe it needed a touch more flour, more butter, more lard. The problem is if I start adding it to try and get the consistency right, bear in mind I don't know what it's supposed to be, I could be on a hiding to nothing and end up with a whole load more batter than I needed.
It looks like it needs a touch more flour. But let's continue. See how it goes.
Bigger than others. Alright, so next I'm going to pour in this water. I don't want the actual ice to go in.
Is it ice cold?
Yeah, there's ice in there. A couple of cubes fall in. You'll hear them. You hear them against the bowl there, just rattling away. If I put a microphone right up to this, you have great ASMR content.
Oh, it's coming together nicely.
Immediately, that is coming together. What I have there is the makings of some very soggy pastry. So the idea of making pastry is that you make it, wrap it in cling film and chill it for at least 3 hours. So that's what I'm going to do.
I can't remember if I gave you weights and measurements for everything.
You did, yes. It was just some of the instructions were vague. We'll get to one later.
Right.
But yeah, you gave us the weights. It's a bit like the Bake Off when you just say make the meringue. It's like, what's that mean?
Okay.
Right. Okay, so now that I've got this, I'm going to go chill for 3 hours. The next stage, like all good bakers, is put your apron on after you start cooking, because you're an idiot.
Oh, the sound's gone really quiet again.
So what I was saying there is that the next part, as all good bakers should do, is to put your apron on after you've started, like an idiot. I couldn't believe that I forgot that, frankly.
Okay, fair enough.
For 230 grams of cubed swede, 450 grams of Maris Piper potatoes, which are 3 of these, 2 medium onions, and 450 grams of beef. Now I was told beef skirt, but I couldn't find this anywhere, so this is just standard cubed beef for casserole. I really hope that doesn't bite me in the butt later. Okay, I've had to move on to a higher surface because otherwise my back is going to be on fire all day. So excuse me while I start prepping the innards. Very used to
innards, yeah.
Peeling potatoes because sort of once a month I try and do a proper full roast dinner. I do have a really good roast potato recipe.
Yes, I have seen them. They do look delicious.
A really good vegetable peeler. It saves so much time and effort. That's how you know you're getting old. This is where it gets tricky because the instruction says chip the potatoes. Now this is the instruction. This is the one. To cut it into French fry size, but that's not going to work for Cornish pasties. So I'm not quite sure how small I need to make them. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm intrigued at how this went. At this point, I need to make a decision. I think I'm going to have to cut these in half one more time. Theoretically, these should cook inside the... Those are chips, as far as the UK is concerned. Those are chips.
Yeah, they are chips.
And, you know, I'm saying here that I don't know. They're not going to cook all the way through, so how thin do I make them?
Is there anything else you can think of that you would consider chipped?
Widthways.
Right.
Let's go lengthways. I'm not overly convinced, honestly. I'd rather dice them, but the recipe says chip.
Oh God.
I'm going to chop them one more time this way. This time I'm going to go like across here. I love my little blue knives.
I have blue knives too.
Almost cubed then. I think given that the swede is cubed, given that the beef is going to be cubed, given that the onion is going to be cubed, that is what makes sense to me. So let's do it.
Right.
I appreciate my knife skills aren't great.
They're a good size. Okay.
Pack of potatoes, or
Some of them are a tad chunky, but yeah, okay.
You'll see us side by side later with the Swede. I think I'd go for sort of that size next time.
Yeah, about that size, maybe a little thinner. I'd probably have to show you, but yeah. About the diced Swede, by the way. Swede is a pain in the ass to cut. So yeah, frozen Swede, bagged Swede, it doesn't matter. I mean, frozen Swede can go a bit soggy, but to save time, yeah, agreed.
I've chipped them, but I've also cubed them as well because, frankly, I think that's going to work better. I may be wrong. Right, so next let's do the onions. This one I am...
Oh, you cut your onions weird.
So this method is a sort of variant on the Gordon Ramsay technique. I tend to do them with different techniques every time though. Is to not cut them all the way down.
Oh, mind your fingers.
I still have all 10. Keep them like that. Then, when we cut like this, look at that.
Excellent. I've never seen an onion chopped like that before, but
yeah, that's the Ramsay technique.
It looks. Oh, Gordon Ramsay. He's so rude.
Yeah, but he's also very talented and pretty humble as well.
He is very talented, but he knows he's talented. That's the problem, I think.
I usually prefer my onions a bit thicker. Oh, that's all gone to hell. That's all gone bad. Okay, as you can see, those onions.
Oh,
I always get emotional.
What did that onion say to you?
So yeah, that was a particularly fresh onion. I'm just sort of explaining now that this is the first time that I've ever sort of been on video showing us crying. I've had to cry on stage before using the Hulk Hogan method of acting. So basically, it's a case of rubbing a little bit of vapor rub just underneath the eyes. Don't put it in your eye because it will hurt like a you-know-what. But under the eyes, it will induce tears every single time. And it helped me sort of pull tears. I've never cried on film before. Cried on stage before, but not on film. So just as sure this is the onions. And there they are, all cut up.
Lovely.
Now we've done the vegetables, let's chop up this beef. Now, I want to cut it smaller than it is, but not too small. Otherwise, you're going to get it lost.
Yeah, not too small. You need nice chunky bits. Ooh.
I'm going to go for about this size, about the size of a dice. And there it is.
Yeah, that's a good size.
Beef. Looking at these potatoes now compared to how diced those cubes are.
Yeah, they look okay actually. So when they're all next to everything else, they don't look too bad.
Looking at these potatoes now compared to how diced those cubes of Swede are, to how finely diced that is, I'm actually quite happy with the size of those. Like I said,
it does look pretty good.
In the butt later. But it's only been half an hour since everything went in the fridge, so I've got 2.5 hours to kill. And this is where I messed up. I'm not sure what happened, but the footage where I was putting everything together just disappeared.
I would definitely like to see the crimp.
Yeah, I mean, Godfather's right. Crimping ain't easy. I'm not quite sure what technique I went for in the end, but I definitely got some crimps. You'll see them in just a moment. You'll see just as they're about to go in the oven. So. Yeah, I'm disappointed.
Okay, we can judge your crimp.
Yeah.
Judge your crimp on that. That's fine.
Okay, so I've had the oven preheating for a while, and I'm supposed to put it at 160, which I suspect is about there, frankly. Let's put that in for 30 minutes. But before we do that, I want to show you two things. Okay, yes, this is a mess, but also look how much ingredients are left over.
I'm sure that that's going to be
How
in the
thin did you
bucket at
roll
some
your
point, but
pastry?
So you'll see in a
way,
minute
way,
that
way too
for the most
much.
part I did roll it quite
Especially
thin, but there was
considering the
one
amount of pastry I
really
had,
quite
I
thick.
struggled to get them all in. Now, granted, one of those was quite thick,
There you go.
but the others were.
It's a
real
skill to
thin.
pack them, and you
That's
definitely
the
can
pastry.
pack a
Could turn it
pasty.
into a 6 point.
Yeah, it's tough.
Finally,
I mean, look at those. I mean,
They're beautiful.
they're really not. They're really not. Look at those. They're terrible.
Oh, you could have got way more in there.
As the recipe doesn't say, how many was I supposed to make out of that batch?
Okay, so I think, if I remember, the recipe I gave you, it was for 6.
Okay, so the fact that I've got 5 of various sizes and one of them quite thick, that's not so bad, I guess. I had the right idea, but yeah, I really need to portion that up better.
Yeah.
this is what they look like
Okay,
going in.
keep watching.
And immediately you can
Ooh.
see a couple of issues. I'm not supposed to poke holes in these. I don't need to. These
No.
look like a sunroof. But still, one more thing I've got to do before I move on. It's egg wash time. So I've got one.
Do you think I could make "It's Egg Wash Time" a catchphrase and sell some T-shirts?
I think so, yeah.
I don't think it's going to make.
I mean, if
much
Tom
difference,
Scott can make
frankly.
"It's Muffin Time" a
These are going to
catchphrase,
be
why can't I?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, to make a little song.
disaster zone. But for first attempt, minimum expectations are edible. Ah. The egg wash is making it worse.
Oh, they're. I've seen worse first attempts.
So has Townie had a go at this yet?
It's very hard
No,
to
I
film
think he's a bit
myself
scared.
I don't blame
doing
him.
this with one hand and brushing with another. So
I mean, how long did it take you
Forgive
to
me.
perfect your recipe?
Oh, blimey. The pastry quite a long time. I'm not very good at pastry,
So, we now
but I
put
have
these in the oven
I have perfected my pastry. I shouldn't say that. I'll give me a big head.
for half an hour.
It took me quite
160.
a lot of attempts to manage to fit everything in without it splitting. And again, crimping was a challenge, but practice makes perfect. Okay.
Right, they've been in long enough. Let's have a look. Oh dear. Well, maybe they look better. when
Did you
it's
egg wash them a second time,
There's the money shot.
I did not.
or did I forget to tell you that?
Immediately I can see lots
I
of
think you
bubble
did.
No, it's leaked everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
Some
look
of
at
the
that.
pastry brown, so it hasn't.
It's just,
Oh no.
There's a pool of liquid in
there's
there.
no gravy in there at all.
Yeah.
Oh, God, there was
They
a-
are not
this
done.
one looks the best one.
No, I figured so. I mean,
Oh,
look
dear.
a bit
Looks like
anemic,
somebody's
yeah.
already taken a bite out of it.
They do. That pastry does look really
Yeah.
like flaky though.
I don't know whether to call that.
Yeah, I mean, not quite
butter.
cooked, but
Butter
flaky.
there.
Oh no, all the butter's leaked out.
I'm going to give these
Yeah,
a bit more
that's the
time.
holy
I just want to let
pastries.
it brown off a little bit more.
I would probably stick them in for a little bit longer as well.
Yeah,
How
which
is
I
the
ended
butter
up
not
doing.
melted in this oven? It's been in there for nearly an hour. Okay, we're going to try and take these out again now. Let's have a look. And I think they're about as good as they're going to get. If I leave them in any longer, they are going to burn.
Yeah, and not
So
as
I'm going to put these on a cooling
leaky.
rack and then take some cinematic shots. Okay, getting them out of here did not
Oh, blimey.
go well.
Oh, no.
This one fell to
Oh,
pieces. This one had a piece of bottom. That one
Yeah,
looks okay, except that's
pulling these out
basically
using a
Oh, that
spatula.
corner looks alright.
This
Yeah,
one
it
is
does. I
just-
mean, look at that though. It just fell apart on the spatula.
Oh, it does look a bit pre-chewed, doesn't it?
But what you can see is a lot of the black specks. I mean, that's the pepper.
Oh,
It's all in there. I think you said to use a lot of pepper in that thing.
good.
Yeah.
It still needs more pepper.
I think the wording was, if you think you've used enough, use more. And I felt I did that.
No, I said, I remember saying, when you think there's enough pepper, add some more.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of pepper.
I thought I had.
Rubble.
Interesting. They look
bad.
interesting.
But,
They look homemade.
oh, it's not great,
sort of
is it?
Rustic. There you go. Traditional.
Yeah, rustic. Yeah. Artisan, you might even say.
That steak does look nice, though. It's strange that they've they had holes in, but they don't look like super dried out.
Oh, except that bit. But yeah, that doesn't look cooked.
I think you've had them too close together. They look like they've been batch baked, like bread.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I just need more space. Now, for those who don't know, this is my wife Anne and my daughter Molly, both of which have been featured on the channel. Anne, you'll have heard the voice before, but maybe not necessarily seen the face. Now, just as a thing, Molly here is taste testing these. She does not like beef. She doesn't really like pasties.
Ah,
So
I'm intrigued.
We asked for 5 delicious Cornish pasties. Well, we've got 5 of something. The pastry looks really nice, doesn't it? It looks really nice and yeah, crunchy, not crunchy, but you know, golden brown and nice ring around the edge of the pasty. Yeah, nice.
See, they like my crimping there.
Pasty, nice sized chunks of Sweden potato, presumably, and a good colour. Well, apart from this bit, it looks a bit anemic, but other than that, the colour, it looks like something we get engaged, doesn't it? Right.
Greg's? Did she just say Greg's?
No, gaze. No, she's a gaze.
Oh, Gaze. I was going to say. Greg's.
Full context, that's Gaze Creamery in Dawlish. A fantastic little pastry. We have a place that's very close to there, and when they start cooking in the morning, it's fantastic. And we usually eat a couple of times there. But yeah, Gaze Creamery in Dawlish. It's worth a visit, in my opinion. Very good stuff.
We have got not a lot of gravy, but I don't know how much there should be in a traditional Cornish pasty. I know what there is in what I'm used to, but they are not Cornish pasties.
Oh, it does look like it's cooked nicely, though.
So how much gravy should there be in a traditional Cornish pasty?
Well, I wouldn't say it would be like a gravy. They shouldn't be dry, and they shouldn't be drippy. It should be wonderfully moist.
I mean, there's a very cheesy comment to be made there, but I'm going to avoid that.
Right.
So again, Molly doesn't like beef. She'll only eat bolognese.
Give it a blow.
Beef like this, yeah, she won't touch it whatsoever.
Got some meat there, a little bit of the veg, and some of the pastry.
Okay.
And I'm going to join
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Pastry,
she'll eat
meat.
bolognese, she'll eat burgers, but not
And a bit of
cubes.
veg.
She's
Okay.
quite the fussy eater.
Personally, I would say there's not enough veg for the proportion to meat. There is more meat than veg, and I would think they should be about a 50-50 proportion, whereas this is more 75-25. Pastry's lovely, really crumbly and flaky.
That's delicious.
Meat's a bit chewy. Possibly could have done with it being smaller
That's
chunks,
good, it's
so
not
it would
skillet.
cook through better
Yeah.
and cook through softer. Veggies are cooked, definitely. And you know that line in the recipe that says, put salt and pepper in, if you think you've put enough, add more. You didn't add more. There's not enough pepper in it.
I can't taste any salt and pepper.
Exactly. But other than that,
More
it
pepper.
looks horrendous, but
it's
I would
delicious.
definitely eat it.
Yeah.
Definitely eat it, which is good
Bear in
because this
mind
is
that-
what we've got for tea.
Bear in mind that I don't like pasties. I love it.
I too am not.
Well, there you
very
go.
pleased with how it looks, but
They might not be pretty, but my recipe's approved.
try and get
What you'll notice here is that they're still very hot. There's steam, a lot of that
They
coming
do
off.
hold heat for a long time.
also hot.
It's disappointing that they've fallen apart and you have to eat it with a knife and fork. You should just wang it in a paper bag and just
Not bad.
have at it.
I think if I'd done that, it would have just crumbled into tiny, tiny pieces.
I don't know. It feels like it's missing something. Perhaps that's the gravy, but it
It all
tastes
fell
good,
out.
But I've got a little bit of pepper right at the end, but not a huge amount. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. It's edible, and that's what I went for in the end.
It's edible. There you go. That's the important part.
Yeah, I mean, it did all get eaten in the end.
Hey.
So, obviously, for a first attempt, what do you think?
For a first attempt, I think that was pretty valiant.
Valiant. Okay, we'll take that.
It was a good effort.
Okay. I mean, this is something I would like to try again at some point, but a bit more experience.
Hey, I know a lot of Cornish people, by the way, that don't know how to make pasties, so
Yeah, so I've got one up on there.
you did good.
Yeah. You know what? It may not have come out perfectly, but I'm actually pretty proud, very pleased with how they came out in the end.
You should. No, it was a good effort, I think, for your first go. I commend you.
I think that's all we have time for today. So thank you very much, Betsy, for joining me on this one.
Oh, you're welcome.
For everyone who's watching, why not leave a comment below about what you thought, what I did right, what I did wrong, what you would do differently. Like this video, share it around, and maybe subscribe for more content. We're coming up to 1,100 subscribers now. If you want to support me in other ways, you can become a patron at patreon.com/BradleyJVoices. There's no gated content. It's just a tip jar on that basis. You can also buy merchandise at bradleyj.tmail.com, and if this video goes really well, maybe we'll get It's Egg Wash Time as a t-shirt that you can buy. For now, though, thank you very much for watching.